Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming to our panel. So today we're going to be talking about how technology advanced solutions can help shipping fleets achieve performance and sustainability targets. So overall, we're seeing a shift in how vessel owners are maintaining their vessel. So regulations are continuing to change. There's an IMO legally binding framework in the works right now as well. Their CII requirements are tightening, and we're seeing the introduction of Fuel EU. As shifts in hull maintenance strategies continue to change, we want to improve operational efficiencies with vessels. Today we have a panel today of different hull grooming and cleaning providers to talk about the future of hull maintenance, what we're seeing now, and what the next 5 to 10 years has in store. So I'd like to give each panelist an opportunity to kind of introduce yourself in one line, and what's kind of your focus right now in the industry. So Karl, we'll start with you.
Thank you. I'm Karl, Environmental Services Director at Subsea Global Solutions. We're a global ship repair and maintenance company, and my focus is specifically on delivering all manner of biofouling management solutions, from inspections through proactive and reactive cleaning in 13 ports around the world.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Anjali. I'm with Fleet Robotics. We build autonomous robots that are designed to live on the vessel 24/7 and be able to perform cleaning and inspection tasks continuously and autonomously wherever a ship is in the world, whether they're underway in the Pacific Ocean or anchored off the coast of Singapore. And I lead product and policy at Fleet, and so my role is really to really understand what the customers want from us, and then also where does our product fit within the current regulatory landscape.
My name is Brooks Converse. I work at Greensea IQ. I'm the enterprise sales executive. My focus is identifying vessel owners and operators' biofouling problems and subscribing custom hull solutions for hull maintenance solutions for helping them meet their sustainability goals and save bunkers ultimately.
My name is Inder, the founder and CEO of Alicia Bots. So we build hull grooming robots, which are like resident robots living on the ship itself. It's deployed periodically to maintain fuel performance and do early stage cleanings.
Okay, thank you. So for our first question today, there's 3 different schools of thought when it comes to coatings and maintenance. There's the apply and forget it, where you utilize premium biocidal coatings with minimal intervention. There's reactive cleanings, where when it hurts with performance and inspection triggers to decide when to clean. And then there's proactive maintenance, a planned grooming when the vessel obtains only the layer of slime to start. So which approach does the industry actually prefer today? So Karl, I'll pass it off to you for this question.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a great question, and I think the word preferred maybe is a little bit loaded, but I would say the prevailing practice still in industry is a reactive solution. And ship owners are waiting for some sort of trigger to clean. Usually an inspection that's driven by either a periodic schedule, and so they're proactively inspecting and then making decisions based on their findings from the inspection, or it's coming up through the course of other work going on underwater that allows them to see what the condition is. Anytime we do any work on a vessel, if we're doing propeller polishing or repairs elsewhere, our divers are going to look at the rest of the hull and give at least a quick assessment of what the condition is, and that will trigger it. We are seeing movement to more proactive solutions as ship operations permit. In a lot of cases, ship owners would like to clean a little bit more frequently, but they don't have access to suitable solutions based on whether there's just providers in a given port where they're working, or providers who are allowed to operate, or just availability. There might be an operator, but they're not available next Tuesday, the one day the ship's there. So that's holding up proactive a little bit on it. So it's still, I think, very much a reactive, but shifting.
And Anjali, what are you seeing with the in-transit, more proactive approach? What are ship owners kind of thinking?
Yeah, I completely agree with Karl. I think there's a general interest for being able to do these types of tasks wherever they are, in a way that's convenient, that doesn't require them to have downtime or be held up because of regulations or whatever. And that's really how we thought through the platform that we wanted to design, is how do we one, give ship owners and operators a tool that allows them to do this type of cleaning and maintenance work that doesn't slow down their operation. It's not something you have to think about. It's not something you have to plan for or train someone to do. How do we put the burden on us as a service provider to think through a solution that makes it a no-brainer for a ship owner to be able to say, yeah, I want to clean, and it's really easy for you to do it. And so that's really why we thought about how we thought and designed our platform to be autonomous, no tethered. It's on the vessel, so it lives in a docking station on the bridge and can go out and then perform those tasks whenever it's prompted. And by prompted, it kind of learns based on the vessel's operating style, like how often should it be cleaning? If it's going to be in a high pressure situation where there's lots of fouling, like maybe Singapore or the tropics, it might prompt the vessel owner to say, hey, let me go out once a week or something like that. And so how do we make this one less thing for a ship owner to have to worry about was really kind of our philosophy and how we designed our solution.
Absolutely. Brooks?
Yeah, thank you. Anjali, I echo your sentiments. I think every owner would like to keep their hull clean of biofouling indefinitely. The logistical challenges of doing so are significant, however. Can you clean in the port where the vessel is currently located? Can you do so concurrent to cargo operations so as to mitigate losses of time? You're not going to go off hire a lot of owners in order to clean your hull unless there's a big serious problem. So, while owners would like to clean their hulls more frequently in order to receive those performance gains, it's not always possible. What we're seeing from Greensea IQ is your liner type vessels, those vessels in the same home port, really being able to take advantage of those proactive benefits. Just because of the emerging services and various companies providing that service now. The challenge remains, in my opinion, or at least from where I'm sitting here at Greensea IQ, of getting those solutions to vessels on the spot market. So that's where we see a huge opportunity.
Yeah, I think reiterating what Karl said, I think most of the ship owners prefer now reactive cleaning. Their ideal requirement would be to just put a paint and forget about cleaning, but in reality that does not happen. Most of the ship owners, if you see, they take decisions on cleaning when the fuel performance is up by 12 to 15% at least. Yeah, and that's primarily at a macro fouling stage. Now, at Alicia Bosch, what we are trying to promote is more proactive grooming at early stages. There are certain benefits of it. It extends your coating life much longer. And I think over the last 4 to 5 years, there's been a growing need for proactive hull grooming, but still, the market share of proactive hull grooming is less than 1%.
Yes, thank you. So, proactive hull maintenance is not yet required by regulation, but in today's real operations, is it feasible? So is the market ready to replace biocides with proactive grooming? What are some of the challenges and opportunities vessel owners are seeing with proactive grooming if they weren't doing it or doing it on one vessel? And what's the landscape like? Inder, would you like to start with that question?
Yeah, I think the first question is like whether it's scalable. So I think with the increase in robotic solutions, it's definitely feasible. It's definitely scalable. The market is looking out for it. And now I think there are three drivers to it. So one is robotics. Second is remote operations using Starlink or any other 4G providers. So I think and the third would be data and performance systems. So if you couple the three of the things, it's definitely operational feasible. Whether the market is willing to accept, I think there is a lot of fuel drivers. Like for example, with the CII, with your EU ETS, all these are definitely the fuel economics drives the need for proactive hull grooming.
Okay, Brooks.
Yeah, as far as the technology goes, robotic hull grooming technology is changing the game for several reasons. there's less crew worry and intervention. There's no need for lockout, tagout. It reduces the human risks of cleaning a hull via divers, although sometimes necessary. So we're not really replacing a reactive cleaning when needed. And these robotics, because there's fewer people, are reducing the costs of service. So for us at Greensea IQ, anyways, our technology works best with a liner type customer. We are in ports in Texas and Florida where liner type vessels coming in very regularly are conducive to proactive cleaning. We could be on them, as often as every 30 days in order for the owners to really see the benefits of the fuel savings and provide ROI for those customers. So we're seeing the technology working in practice today, and I think in the coming years we're going to see this refined further and further and benefit the shipping community as a whole.
Yeah, I would completely agree. I mean, folks like Greensea have been doing this for decades, if not, and so Subsea Global as well. And so there's solutions there, and then there's companies like us who are newer on the block, and then our earlier stage pilots and all that stuff. And so definitely doing refinements over the next couple of years. But I believe in the next 5 or so years, this technology will be there where it's super scalable, hopefully, and in a place that is reliable and all the things that vessel owners need for these solutions to be viable. And I think the regulatory environment is definitely pushing everybody to that same area. And so I'm optimistic that the timelines are kind of going in the same direction in terms of when I think the IMO regulations will probably be finalized, along with where I see a lot of us in our development stage. Hopefully being in a position where those regulations actually hit, that there are, like, ship owners aren't in a bind where they're having regulations that they can't meet because there aren't tools available. And that's really the thing that we're working super hard around the clock to make sure that not just in 5 years, but as soon as possible, we can get these into the hands of the people who need them the most. And hopefully have one less thing that ship owners have to check off their to-do list every day. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think the scale at which the availability of solutions for the vertical sides and flat bottom are definitely growing to meet that demand for proactive cleaning, but it's only part of the overall problem that needs to be addressed. I think the discussion so far has really focused on the fuel efficiency aspect of the puzzle, which is huge and obviously creates an economic reason to clean.
Yeah.
The second piece that's getting into, and is what the IMO convention is coming out towards in the coming years, is prevention of the transfer of invasive species. And the niche areas are the challenge and the high risk area for invasive species. And the robotic solutions are lagging in that vein. And how do we achieve that? How do we scale to that? And we started some initial, we the Grand Industry and the Ballast and Environmental Manufacturers Association is working on a study to look at kind of what the demand is going to be based on what assumptions we can make. How often do you need to get into sea chests and around rudders to clean them? And if we're cleaning macro fouling, we need to capture, collect, treat the material for environmental water quality reasons, from that perspective. And the scale of the systems that we believe is going to be needed is massive. Orders of magnitude greater than what's available right now that we'll have to figure out how to achieve. We get great solutions for the flat sides, vertical sides, flat bottom incoming, but these other pieces are going to be a joint effort, I think, across preventative technologies, which aren't represented on the stage here, but the ultrasonics, the UV, something that probably hasn't been thought of yet, and then advancing robotic technologies and the traditional diver technologies as well. Some of these solutions right now, it has to be a diver doing it for the time being. And that is going to be a little bit trickier to scale. And we want to be careful also of where we're asking divers to work from a high-risk perspective. I agree completely with robotics reducing the risk, from a human perspective. So that piece of the puzzle is really, we have a long road ahead of us on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we know that there's all sorts of different coatings on the market, and each of your robotics are cleaning different types of coatings, or by diving as well. So can all coatings be safely cleaned and groomed without damaging performance? or increasing environmental risk. So, Inder, would you like to start with that one?
Yeah, I think see, like, if you're removing macro fouling from from a ship, it definitely damages the coating for sure, right? Because you require more aggressive cleaning methods. Our approach is like, we believe in proactive cleaning at a slime level. You can do that with lighter brushes, and you can, and that has a minimum damage to the coating. This is what we, believe as a philosophy.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Ender, agree completely. Proactive cleaning allows you to groom more. Well, it's really grooming more frequently, and because of that, the necessity for more abrasive brushes and possible damage to coatings is minimal. There's really two parties who are concerned with the coating when you're cleaning it. It's the ship owner. Are you going to damage my coating? And it's the port authority, the port regulator. Will you be releasing biocides from your cleaning operations into our harbors? With these soft nylon brushes, there's been extensive testing and studies done from both in-house at Greensea IQ and commissioning third-party studies to really prove that the thickness and surface roughness isn't affected by these soft, proactive approach to cleaning the hull. Secondly, water studies prove that the tins and coppers and things that are in these coatings, some of these biocidal coatings, there's no increase in the copper and tin in the water surrounding a hull cleaning proactively, at least. So, those concerns are real, but there's been significant studies and information out there really discrediting any concern for your owners and port authorities.
For us, we've, similar to all the folks up here, have done extensive testing on pretty much the gamut of coatings that are out there to be able to ensure that we're not damaging, because of course coating manufacturers like you care about it, the ship owners care about it, and so that's a big part of our internal R&D, and also our platform is designed in a way where it can be customizable based on a coating, and so some coatings may need less cleanings per month or per year, depending on their operating profile, and we can also play around with the pressure, the brushes, and all these like different parameters that we can customize, because at our core, our platform is just a robotic walking platform, and so all these other characteristics are very customizable based on what that vessel actually needs. And we hope this also allows coatings that do need more proactive grooming and stuff like that to be able to come into the market a lot easier and be complementary to that. And so, we spend a lot of time in that, and that's another kind of key focal point of how we've thought through our product and making sure it can be adaptable to different types of coatings.
Yeah, I agree with the points that have been brought up here by my fellow panelists, and particularly as it comes to the proactive grooming aspects of it. That if we get the right fouling with the right tool, done with the right cleaning equipment and properly trained operators or properly trained autonomous systems, works great. As soon as we get into macro fouling, it gets a lot more challenging, and just in greater pressures involved and higher risk of damaging the coatings, and so that becomes certainly a concern for the ship owners, and drives the argument towards why we want to clean more frequently. Is it's a safer overall solution. As we get into the advanced macro fouling, the regulatory authorities around the world are right to be looking at the impacts of more aggressive cleaning technologies, and if we've got to work really, really hard to get barnacles and oyster plates off of a hull, that comes at a cost. There are ways to still do that safely as well. It involves different equipment, involves advanced filtration, but that's going to be part of the necessary solution going forward. And I think an area where coating companies are recognizing the need for different solutions for different parts of the vessel, potentially different tolerances of overall what is the total risk we're looking at from a biocidal distribution, potential release of invasive species, microplastics, all those aspects of it, and what do we need to actually do to treat and manage. So again, it's going to be a multifaceted solution going forward, but there are ways to do it safely that protects the environment.
Absolutely. Inder, you brought up a good point that we're about 1% is engaging in proactive grooming. So with all of you having kind of conversations with different vessel owners, what are some of the hesitancies about adopting a proactive grooming regimen, and where are vessel owners starting to see the opportunities and why they're reaching out? Kind of a part of what we wanted to do today is kind of be thought leaders in is this approach feasible? Is it an option going forward? And kind of where are the success stories? So if you can share a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I think, see, when you, if you put yourself in a ship owner's shoes, one of the things they are looking for is, for proactive grooming, you need to do it more regular, right? I believe that a truly a proactive system can be achieved by, you need to have the robot on board the ship somehow. Yeah. One of the key drivers is definitely the industry is driven by a price point, right? Most of the times we see a comparison with the cost of one reactive cleaning, right? So, you have to maintain that price point from a ship owner's point of view. Second thing is that, the operational feasibility, we are at least focused on the tankers and the bulk carrier segment, primarily because they have substantial stoppages at anchors. So, that becomes one of the drivers. And I think in the last 3 to 4 years with the growing technologies, around the world, and there are many companies entering the proactive grooming space, even ship owners are becoming more conscious that they need to clean early. And also the fuel penalties, once they start kicking in, that will be a driver for adoption for proactive grooming. Then there are different stakeholders, there are charterers who are paying for the fuel but not owning the vessel, and then there are ship owners who are actually looking at the performance. So it's sometimes a dispute between them that, who is getting the benefit and who is actually paying for the service. So that as a market needs to mature. And I think in the next 3 to 4 years, the way we see is that proactive, hull grooming robots is going to have a better market share. It will not match even in the next 5 years to a reactive cleaning, that's for sure, but at least the market share is going to increase for sure.
Absolutely. Brooks, do you have anything to add to that?
I echo your sentiments again, Inder. I'll focus on one other piece, which makes adopting this type of regimen a challenge for owners, and that's budgets. If we look at a vessel's dry dock cycle, typically 5 years between dry docks. Typically, a new hull coating is applied, and a lot of these hull coatings are warranted for a year or two. In that period, a lot of these owners are reluctant to touch it whatsoever. As the hull coating ages, it becomes less effective. So, they have typically budgeted for reactive diver hull cleanings when the time comes. A proactive cleaning regimen really provides return on investment through fuel savings. So, if you have an owner with a set budget for a certain amount a year after, say, year 2. They're looking at their budget solely. When you say, you have to spend X to earn back Y, then there's different budgets you have to look at. Is this going to come from the bunker budget? Is this going to come from the hull grooming budget? Is it a combination of those factors? So, while in practice, it's sound and really does provide return on investment. It takes some internal, transitioning for these companies to really adopt that, and that's hard for CFOs to get over sometimes.
Anjali, I'm interested from your perspective, being, as you said, new on the block. And you move into these pilots, what were some of those initial conversations that you had, and what's kind of the profile of the pilot customers that you have in the works?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think some of the pain points that we hear often really comes back to our philosophy of, can they get a product that does what we say it's going to do reliably? Like if it's breaking or they got to take their crew to fix it, and that's just, they have enough things to worry about. They would rather just not deal with it right now, right? So that's been something that has been really big on our, like, just making sure we have a reliable product that can perform and do what we say it's going to do. And then of course, it's definitely, I mean, this industry works on really tight margins, and so the numbers have to make sense or it's not worth it. And so that's also part of how we operate as a robot as a service model, where the ship owner isn't paying for the like the equipment, but more so just paying for the service. And we take that as, our responsibility to maintain it. And if something breaks, we give you a new one. There's no fees, there's no nothing. And so it also helps us because we're early, and so we know that the lifespan of our robot may be shorter right now, and it's easier for us to just give you a new one and you not have to worry about it, while we're also doing our product iterations as well. And so, that's one of the things. And then, of course, we're always looking for people who are super collaborative and know that we're a startup, and we're working really hard towards this goal and who want to work with us. And we also always try to come to the table with the understanding that you're the expert on whatever problem you're solving, and how can we design it in a way that makes sense for how your business operates. That's really, really important for us, because we don't want it to be some one solution that just has to do one thing, but how do we make it so that it's optimized for the needs that you actually have as a business.
Absolutely. Thank you. And Karl, previous to this, we've had some conversations about kind of the Australia, New Zealand, and the regulations there. Can you shed a little bit of light on some of the challenges with vessels on those trades as well?
Absolutely. I think New Zealand, as most people are probably aware, has a very, very strict set of criteria for vessels entering their waters to minimize the risk to their local environments from aquatic invasive species. And we've seen some other countries and jurisdictions implement differing levels of requirements to achieve the same thing. But New Zealand is by far the most extreme in it, with their set of rules, which is requiring a very thorough, very recent inspection to prove that the ship is clean. That sounds fantastic on paper. But in reality, it is a significant effort to achieve that. And it's something that at Subsea Global Solutions that we work, particularly with the cruise lines, at great length to help these ships get in, because the cruise industry cannot afford to lose these opportunities. Although some of the cruise lines are reducing New Zealand port calls because it's a challenge to get in. But for us, as a service provider with our partnerships, we will start 6 months before a ship arrives in New Zealand to start a systematic inspection and cleaning protocol that can be 10 different attendances on a vessel of multiple cleanings and inspections. We clean it, we inspect it, we find something, we send it off to New Zealand, they review it, we get feedback back, we repeat. And just working through all the right submittals, and this will be across 4 or 5 of our home port locations and with 3 different partners, all to ensure that we get this, these ships into New Zealand. We have a great relationship with MPI in New Zealand and have great success with it, but this does not come cheaply for the customer at all. And for cruise, it's predictable enough. We can do this. We can look 6 months out and know where the ship's going to be when. For so many other fleets, that is really not possible. And it becomes much more happenstance as to how we do it. We've seen Brazil implement a regulation. Similar regulation, they don't have an approval process, but you do have to maintain a clean hull before going in, but there's a lack of clarity on how to prove that. And that's going to be a big challenge that we know at the IMO level to write these similar rules. We want clean ships sailing from port to port, but how do we prove it? How do we comply? So it's a big challenge ahead of us. The proactive solutions are going to be a huge piece of that puzzle to keep those parts of it clean. But the 147 overboard discharges on a cruise ship are a unique challenge of themselves that needs to be better managed. So there's a lot of work there to streamline it in a way that works for everybody: ports, ship owners, and service providers and equipment manufacturers. and coating companies.
No, thank you for that. That's some good insight into that area. So I'd like to open up to the audience now. Any questions that you might have for our panelists?
Not really.
The question was the amount of study that's been done on the impacts of hull cleaning against actual fuel consumption figures.
That's the one.
There's been a lot of studies done on it, showing a variety and range of successful fuel reduction. There's no doubt that a clean hull translates to reduced fuel consumption. I'd say that there's definitely a lot of variables in the equation that all of us up here are working with our customers to try to figure out the sweet spot for it. The cost of fuel matters, and if you're only talking about a really small fuel percentage savings, the volatility of fuel costs might offset the savings that you deal with. And where's the value proposition? But there've been quite a few studies on that done. And I know some of my other panelists are heavily involved in some of the analytics on that, so I'll give them an opportunity to speak to it as well.
I'll just add to that, each year from the shipping industry, around 48 million metric ton of fuel is just wasted as a result of hull fouling. Yeah, and that's a significant amount of CO2 reduction if you actually at least even try to reduce 5 to 6% of that. That's a significant amount of fuel savings.
Yeah, the main challenge with providing our customers with return on investment figures is the reliability of their data which they're reporting. Some of these some of our cruise customers, for example, they have very high-tech engine management software where they could provide kilowatt hours of power being used by the engine every 5, 10, 15 minutes. And with that data, we're actually able to correlate how much fuel savings that actually has occurred. Those systems are able to take out the other various factors like wind direction, swell, other things that change the powering need for the vessel, and really just isolate the hull performance. Those customers that are relying on noon reports for that data, it makes it much more challenging, giving evidence of return on investment and fuel savings. Still possible for us to do, but data every 24 hours compared to 15 minutes, you could see the accuracy conundrum accordingly.
Okay, any other questions?
Where hull cleaning technology is right now, do you think that when it comes to like macroalgae and larger stuff stuck to the hulls, is it still more beneficial to have a diver go down or have a robot go down where technology is right now?
Right now, globally, it's probably going to be done by a diver just based on the availability of solutions that we have. We are at Subsea Global Solutions. We have a robotic cleaning system that is capable of removing macroalgae with capture. For where that is required, and obviously that's going to be increasing steadily over the coming years as to where that's required. And so a lot of the robotic solutions have focused on the proactive aspect of it right now because there is such an obvious economic benefit for it. But we're seeing the additional solutions come to market. And one of our findings has been that when you add the complexity of the capture system to the cleaning tool, it's more stuff in the water. It's a large collection hose coming to the surface. That's one more thing for a diver to have to deal with and avoid and add potential risks. So as we move forward with capture and collection systems for macro fouling, we're going to see more robotic because it is a safety factor, and also translates to an economic factor as well. If certain ports were required for safety reasons to use a 7-person dive team when I can operate a robot with a 4-person dive team, that translates to a cost savings back to the customer. So right now globally it's going to happen by a diver because 98% of all hull cleanings probably globally are still diver conducted, but the movement will be towards more robotic for all solutions, just piece by piece. So
Okay, thank you. So I just want to ask our panelists one more question. So what is one thing that you want the audience to remember from today? So Karl, we'll start with you.
I think one of the biggest takeaways is that we have to consider biofouling management as becoming a whole new concept for the ship owners. They have to approach it a little bit differently than we have historically. When we're talking about when Inder and Brooks were talking about budgeting and where the ship owners pay for things, the hull cleaning for efficiency is easy to compare against against fuel costs, and okay, that pays for itself. They had to fight internally get the right person to cut the check. But as we move into like the New Zealand rules, and which again is going to become more something along those lines, is going to become the global standard of where does that budgeting come from the ship owner's perspective, and how do they approach that? It was part of the reason ballast water treatment became such a controversial topic. That was an added cost with no obvious commercial benefit to the ship owner. Niche area cleaning is at the risk of being that same sort of thing, and it's going to need to be actively managed and proactively managed, and have the ability for ship owners to help support the emerging technologies and bring those to market, and so we don't get stuck with a day where all of a sudden, my colleagues and I show up at work on a Monday morning and the rules have changed overnight on us and we haven't been able to respond. We need to be able to test these technologies, bring these forward. So, and obviously we need our customers to help us with that. So that would be the biggest thing to be thinking about, the broader issue of biofouling management and the criticality of the biofouling management plans, both for the ship and the overall financial model of the company.
Yeah, of course I'm going to echo exactly what Karl said. I would also add that for us, we kind of see this too as a huge data gap problem in terms of a lot of these cleaning schedules, maintenance schedules are based on calendars or what we think the ship might need at any given time. And so part of our kind of philosophy is having a solution on board the ship gives you more data that you can make more data-informed decisions about when you need those type of intensive macro fouling, because we're not going to be that solution for those type of things. And I think it's also important to, at least how we think about it is, we're tackling a certain issue within the industry, but it's going to take us collectively in all of our solutions to address the full spectrum of biofouling management. And so being able to have the data that we're able to collect by being on your ship and doing the slime, how do we extend the time between when you need some more intensive cleanings, but also make it a lot more predictable for the ship owner to know when they need those type of things. And also for coating manufacturers to know how their coatings are performing over time and things like that. And so we're really approaching it from that philosophy too, that hopefully by bridging that data gap, we can help the industry more efficiently make decisions about the management of their hull, whether that comes to biofouling, maintenance, or whatever else.
From my perspective, we spoke about the vessel types and types of trading patterns conducive to this approach to hull maintenance, and I think those vessels that meet that profile today are at a really great advantage over their say spot other spot vessel trading types. To take advantage of these proactive cleaning regimens that allow for return on investment, significant return on investment. So thank you, Maggie.
Yeah, I think one takeaway for the audience is that I want them to remember that each year 50 million metric ton of fuel is wasted. And the only solution to at least to reduce this is through proactive grooming, and that's going to be the future for sure.
Okay. Thank you, Karl, Anjali, Brooks, and Inder. Thank you very much for joining this panel and sharing your insights on proactive grooming.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Maggie.
Thank you.